He got it up. Ladies and gentlemen, the Golden State Warriors have just landed Jimmy Butler. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, hold on. No, you could put it back up. You could put it back up. We're gonna toast. We're gonna toast it. You know what I'm saying?
I went a little dirty though, a little dirty
Yeah, I
martini
see.
going on here, and in the cup,
But and just in case people don't think we drinking real, yeah, okay, real quick. But yeah, man. So with you being a resident Golden State head, I'm a Golden State lover myself. How are you feeling about this deal? How are you feeling?
I mean, I feel like okay, fine. Overall, I'm overjoyed. I'm overjoyed. I think this is where you and I suffer from groupthink. I know for a fact that you're a fan of Jimmy Butler. I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I know I'm not going to get too much pushback about.
I ain't never heard nobody say that to me.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up. Yeah.
But I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire, and we've been hearing about the Jimmy Butler thing for months, really. This isn't just like a recent development. I know there are a lot of twists and turns, like, oh, he wants to maybe go to Phoenix and stuff like that. We'll get into that. At least my thoughts about that whole, potential swing your partner do-si-do between Phoenix, Miami, and Golden State that ended up not happening. But I mean,
that song playing in my head.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it, but when all said and done, with the fact that he not only did he get traded here, but before Shams could even finish his announcement, there's a follow-up announcement that he'd already signed. He signed the 2-year extension.
Yes, and that was the problem I had. I didn't
exactly.
The thing I read was Jimmy Butler is not accepting an extension with Golden State. I'm like, well, he's done. You know what I mean? And then I do know that agents and other teams, opposing teams especially, throw out and it might have been Pat Riley or some of his people saying, oh yeah, no, he's not going to do that in order to drive the price up. You know what I mean? Because he drove his price down. Honestly, you know what I mean? Putting Jimmy through all of that, he drove his price down. It was like, yeah, we'll give you 4 seconds or something like that. But I like this deal because they didn't lose that much. I mean, Wiggins is a prime defender, but I mean, you're getting Jimmy Butler back, so he's a veteran. You know what I mean? He's carried his team to the finals a couple of times. Yeah, Wiggins did his thing when they won their last championship, guarding Luka, guarding Tatum, Brown, guarding pretty much all the prominent wing defenders. He was the new Klay Thompson. But I just feel like this deal, regardless of his age, you know what I mean? Because Jimmy puts in work, and then you're going to get a Jimmy Butler that's driven, pissed off, and he's with Steph Curry now. So he's going to get a lot of easy looks. And they were Draymond Green, so now you got 2 dogs. You know I'm big on dogs, so you need dogs to win. And I don't feel like they lost anything really too valuable. I mean, Lindy Waters went out, Wiggins went out.
Okay,
they retained Moody.
We'll quickly recap that.
Go for it.
So basically, the Warriors are getting Jimmy Butler. Cool, right. Jimmy Butler, who also he's signed a 2-year, $121 million extension. Cool beans. I'm for it. You know what I'm saying? It's not my money. Get the man in the building. Keep him here.
It's not my billions.
Yeah, dude. The Bay Area is really nice, especially around this time of year. The seasons are changing. Anyway, so the Warriors get Jimmy, and then the Warriors are sending out Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Anderson, and Lindy Waters. Now, as far as the Warriors are concerned, that's who's going out. The follow-up details say that it's looking like Wiggins, Kyle Anderson will stay. They'll both stay in Miami. At one point, it was reported that Kyle Anderson might be rerouted to Toronto. That doesn't seem to be happening right now.
Yeah.
And then it seems like the Pistons are getting in on the action, and they will be absorbing Lindy Waters. That's right. The Pistons are getting Lindy Waters and Josh Richardson. So, I mean, yes, let's be real. From Detroit's standpoint, I know this is more of a Warriors thing, but for Detroit, it is a pure, they're absorbing a salary dump. However, I mean, I'm not just, I personally, I've always been a fan of Lindy Waters.
Yeah.
He's a role player. He's a fringe, like back end of the roster role player, but for what he does, which is shoot threes, he does it pretty well. So I don't know what his future is with Detroit, like if he's going to stick around or if they're just going to waive him. But if he does, I mean, in my opinion, I think he's a great like emergency death guy to have,
Yeah.
And same thing with Josh Richardson, veteran, poised, steady hand. He's been here and there. He's been like immersed in Heat culture like multiple times throughout his career.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, this is about Jimmy Butler, but I'm just saying.
You guys only received Jimmy, right?
Yeah. Right now, as far as I understand.
So what do you see the trajectory for the team going forward with Jimmy Butler as? Like, do they improve or is it just stalemate? Like, it's you know what I mean? Like, because I know you got the scouting chops, you know what you're looking at. I have a knack to know what I'm looking at, but I'm not you. So let's give it to Con.
I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about Dub Nation, even if you just remove the emotional part, and we'll get to that because obviously, right, like fans have built an emotional attachment to Andrew Wiggins, more so Andrew Wiggins, but to a lesser extent, Kyle Anderson, Dennis Schroeder, like, hey, they were fantastic teammates. And it just sucks that, and we'll get more into that, but it just sucks that, obviously it didn't work out just for whatever reason, for reasons it just didn't work out. But for Jimmy, I mean, right now, someone actually just before we got on asked me, like, Conrad, who do you think is going to be the new starting lineup? Yeah. Now, barring any additional trades, however, it's reported from Brett Siegel, Mark Stein. So these are reputable guys. They're saying that the Warriors, I mean, they only gave up Wiggins, Schroeder, Kyle Anderson, Lindy Waters, and only one first-round pick. Yeah. And that was my whole thing all along. I'm like, dude, Jimmy has basically done everything textbook to tank his trade value. Like, I'm sorry, right? Like, everyone's scared to touch him. Because like, oh, I don't want to go to your place. Right. It's fine with you. But like, yeah, right. Why are we going to bid against ourselves? Right. I think one draft pick. So it's a top 10 protected pick in the 2025 draft. So this upcoming draft class. Right. So basically, in order for Miami to receive it after the lottery, it has to be outside of the top 10. So it has to be 11 through 30, which in other words, there is no way that pick can become Cooper Flag because you don't want to look like the organization that gave away the pick that became Cooper Flag or whoever star you think, right? I'm just saying, all right? So I think the Warriors can at least, sleep easy on that front. So yeah, going back to it, who should our starting lineup be? It's probably going to be, right now for me, in my opinion, I'm thinking Steph, Brandon Podjemski, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and I'm actually going to go with the rookie Quinton Post. However, he's really
Tracy Jackson. What's
up?
Not Tracy Jackson Davis.
Actually, right now he's kind of been out of the rotation. His play, I still like him. I'm still high on him, but his play has been very inconsistent lately. Yeah. Like he's either hitting like the highs of highs or like the lows of lows, right? Like he'll be out there blocking shots, getting like, 12, 14 rebounds a game. And the other night he's like, he commits like 3 fouls in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's why I understand. And also for a guy who basically only dunks, which is fine. You're a center, you dunk. I'm cool with that. Yeah. But like, you got to do it well. As a rookie, he was like damn near like 70%, finishing at the rim.
Yes, he was.
This year it's down to 58 and you can feel it. There are too many empty possessions. Right. And so I think what Steve Kerr has done, it's like, okay, well, you don't shoot threes, you don't space the floor. Our rookie Quinton Post, he does, and he does it confidently. Yeah. 4-year player at Boston College, has real good proficiency on like dribble handoffs, pick and pop, right? He himself, as the big, understands how to relocate. He can actually shoot off movement. He can shoot like off pin downs. He can shoot off pin ins, right? So that's why I think like, because Jimmy is not a prolific 3-point shooter, they may want to go with Post. However, I think it might have to be matchup dependent. I think Looney will see, and I think that's why Kerr has turned back to Looney, because it's like, okay, if I'm not getting like finishing inside from Trace Jackson Davis, right, then I might as well go to Loon, because I think Kerr, he knows he can rely on him to like fight for the rebounds, box out, set hard screens, and like, even if Looney isn't a traditional rim protector, you're not going to get to the rim, right? He's going to stop you at like the second level. Right. So right now, but again, right, Mark Stein, all of them are reporting that GP2, Looney, even Buddy Hield could still be potentially on the move, as the Warriors want to, again, maybe try to upgrade at the power forward or the center spot.
Center,
right?
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, Nikola Vucevic's name has been thrown out there. Bobby Portis, it would take I think Vucevic is obtainable. Honestly, for me, Butler and Vucevic was like my ideal trade deadline, acquisition.
So manifest it. Go ahead and manifest it.
It's still possible.
Vucevic is next.
It's still possible. I mean, I like Bobby Portis. I think some people kind of laugh at that.
Why? He's productive.
I think it's just because, like, okay, he punched Nikola Mirotic one time, 10 years ago?
Ain't nobody worried about that.
People don't even remember that Bobby Portis was a Chicago Bull.
Ain't nobody worried about that old bullshit. Literally.
Also because, like, he's got, like, the crazy eyes.
Yeah.
So I think people associate him with being crazy. You know what? I'm with you. You said earlier, like, Draymond's a dog. Jimmy's a dog.
Yeah.
Bobby Portis is a dog.
He's a dog.
Michael, I think you can agree. Like, what happens when like you still hoop too. I hooped the other day, right? Like, I know I am slower than I yes, right. It hurts, right? We're slower than we used to be.
Yeah.
Like we can't.
I'm passing and defending.
You know what I'm saying? But what do, right? In order to compensate for your lack of speed or declining athleticism, you just try to get even more physical with the opponent, right? That is what Draymond, Jimmy, and Bobby will do.
Okay? Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if there are no additional moves, I'm okay. Because again, like there is a level of trust in Kevon Looney. There's a level of trust in Gary Payton II, so we'll see. We'll see, but it would be cool. It would be cool. But
let's have another toast to Jimmy Butler arriving, ladies
Butler,
and gentlemen.
Man.
Yes,
Jimmy Butler.
Yes, we.
Yeah, so that was like a very.
If I wasn't on camera, I would kill this.
Dude, I got the bottle right behind me, man.
I mean, you know what I'm saying. But okay. So my next question is, how do you see Jimmy Butler like coming to the Warriors and like, I guess, because the first thought I'm thinking about is Steve Kerr. You know what I mean? Like, I just read Steve Kerr had a players meeting and came out with his head down and all of that, which probably led to the trade. Like, go ahead and just do this. You know what I mean? And then, how do you see knowing, okay, if we incorporate Jimmy's supposed attitude and how he is and all of that, because it's two sides to a story. It's always two sides to a story. I'm not the type that listens to one side, and we always hear the stories later, years later. But how do you think that he will mesh with Steve Kerr? And what do you think Steve Kerr will have him doing? Do you think he will have him hoisting threes, or like just go in on your perspective, because you got the scouter's eye. You're an actual NBA scout, so go for it.
I know, because right, like, and we'll go into the whole Kevin Durant 3-team thing didn't go through, but basically we'll get into that. But a lot of people speculate, oh well, maybe Durant didn't want to come back because of Draymond. Right? Everybody's now trying to place the blame on Draymond, and make no mistake, I'm not saying Draymond is without his faults and stuff like that, and things that maybe he would want to take back that he's done throughout his career.
Yeah,
but frankly, in my opinion, the Warriors don't make this move unless Steph and Draymond were okay with it.
Right.
Like, I am 99% confident that, like, Steph and Draymond, like, signed off on it. Does that mean that they have GM power? No, but obviously, like, they have to believe that the fit would work in order for them to have done it. So in terms of that, like, when you have three guys that want to make it work, I'm a little bit more open-minded. As for Steve Kerr, he does again, same thing there. I don't think that Mike Dunleavy Jr. would make it if he didn't believe Steve Kerr can coach him. We've seen it before, like, it's just sometimes maybe the more forceful voices kind of get back or resonate more with Kerr. But what I'm trying to say is Kerr doesn't mind being challenged. I think there's a misconception there, especially when he's being challenged from other high basketball IQ individuals. Even though sometimes he and Kevin Durant weren't always on the same page, at the end of the day, they found a happy medium. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Same thing with Draymond, same thing with Curry. So what I'm saying is, I think in terms of like chemistry and their ability to work together, I think it'll work. I truly believe that Jimmy is more like, in terms of personality and mindset. Yeah, I think he's a Kerr kind of guy. I really do. Okay, I do. No offense, but some of the other guys that the Warriors were rumored to be interested in, I don't think they were Kerr kind of guys. Like, he can coach him. He'll do it if you give it to him. But like you said, whatever like phrasing we want to use, whether you want to say it like a dog mentality, right? Like, he wants guys that are like always in attack mode. Yeah, that go after it. Go after it, get after it. Yeah. And that's what they need, because who else other than, I mean, Draymond has it, Steph has it, but who else really has it? Maybe Buddy Hield streaks with it, but I mean, he started. I'll give the kid credit. I think Brandon Podjemski has a little bit in him. I think he does. Oh, Guy Santos does. Who? And another great thing, going back to this whole thing, like we basically gave none of our up and coming young guys. Like we you still Moody, got Kuminga. Exactly, Kuminga, Moody. So. But in terms of the on-court, you asked, like, how will it all work? A lot of people have concerns. As we said, why is Post going to be in there? Because we do need a little bit more shooting. We do need a little bit more spacing. Right. However, again, right, we were just talking about this on our WNBA episode. This is me you're talking to, right? Three-point shooting is not the end-all, be-all. No, it's right? Not. If you're telling me, and again, maybe it's because we're older. I'm just saying, like, if you're telling me the solution to any problem is just put another three-point shooter in, then that means you either lack creativity or you don't really know how to actually, like, run any real offensive sets, Or you just bought into the idea of trying to devastate your opponent. And we've seen it in games where, what was it? Was it Boston versus Houston, where it was like they shot 84 three-pointers between the two of the teams? I forget. Yeah. It was Boston and somebody. It was Boston and somebody. Right. I believe it was Houston, if I'm not mistaken. And they had only made like 18 of, it was something crazy. It was a crazy number. And it's like, okay, so you want to take low percentage shots as opposed to taking a shot that you're more likely to make. Why? Why do you, like, when the game of basketball is really passing, movement, and honestly, you're supposed to be trying to get the easiest shot that you can at the rim. You know what I mean? Right. Now, if you could shoot threes, cool, but that's not the end-all, be-all. And that's why I believe this Jimmy Butler deal reinstills the Clay element to them, like it brings the mid-range element back, because definitely Jimmy is proficient in the mid-range. Mid-ranges win championships. I don't care who you ask, who you tell. Jordan won them like that. Pistons won them like that back in the day. The Celtics won it like that. Big Three Celtics. Kobe. Dirk Nowitzki, LeBron, Wade, Bosh, like that. We don't recall them shooting threes. Probably the Spurs did it because they was just pissed off. You know what I mean? Like they was making threes against the Miami Heat like crazy. I've never seen it like that before. But the end all be all of basketball is not for you to just shoot a three and think that you're like, oh, if I make this three, then game over. You're not Steph Curry. He's the only one that devastates with the 3-pointer.
You know what I mean? And
Thank you.
we have to revisit the idea of this is the rim. The backboard is right here. I know a lot of people like the layups and dunks. Just get to the cup. It's a high percentage shot. They call it that for a reason. And everybody is relegated to shooting threes now. And that's why a lot of the playoffs, people be like, oh, this person's going to win the championship. That team, this team, that team. Right. But if they're shooting 43s a game in the playoffs and then getting game planned on also at the same time, cutting the game down to a half court game so you can't get all of those transition threes, then what are you going to do? Like,
exactly.
Seriously. Like, because I'm actually fed up with the idea of threes is the way to win. Though only the Warriors have won or lost by the three. I remember Barkley. You know what I mean? Oh, they're going to win or lose by the three. They're going to live or die. And then the Warriors were the only team to live or die. But guess what? They didn't die or live by the three. It was Klay Thompson making all them mid-ranges. It was Sean Livingston making those mid-ranges. It was David West making those mid-ranges. It was like, come on, bro. Like, get closer to the rim. Everybody don't have the distance like that.
And that's
like,
what I'm saying.
You're not Steph Curry, bro. Get it in your head that you're not Steph Curry. This is not NBA 2K. This is not a video game where you can go buy a button and you're going to make every damn shot. This real life.
That's why, there's two things about three-point shooting, which both apply to the Warriors and the NBA in general. At this point, there are a lot of words in, NBA or basketball terminology that have become so overused that it's now being incorrectly used. Gravity is one, right? Just because you're a prolific three-point shooter does not mean does not mean that I agree. Yes, drawing fouls is better than three-pointers.
Yeah,
but no,
it is. It's damn near a three-pointer if you make it at the cup.
All 3 point, even if you jack up a lot of threes, doesn't mean you have gravity. Like Kyle Korver, only shot threes. Does he have gravity? Right. No. Right? You have true gravity if you have the ability to make pull up or transition threes. Pull up transition threes. At a high clip. That's why guys like Curry or Damian Lillard to a lesser extent. Those guys have gravity.
Right.
Why do the Warriors shoot so many threes? Because they can't, or prior to the Jimmy trade, because they can't do anything else.
No, they can't.
Don't have either the handle or they don't really have the bag to be able to do anything. They can't get to the cup,
Right. Or without.
And even if they do, the Warriors, are literally, this is an actual statistic. They're historically bad at finishing their layups this year. You know what I'm saying? Some of it could be an aberration, but no. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I'm okay that Jimmy doesn't. The idea that
he
Jimmy
makes key ones
gravity.
Though. He makes timely.
Jimmy has gravity even if he's not a prolific 3-point shooter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you sleep, if you hesitate on rotating on him, he's what's up?
On the block?
Yes, crazy on the block. Exactly. I'm sick and tired. Warriors are playing 5 out, and we don't even have the personnel to play 5 out.
Right.
Yeah.
You
could actually go back to running real basketball plays. You can run flex action with Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? You know how devastating he is coming off kind of a curl or something like that. And then even if you take away his first read, dude, he'll he'll a drop step on you, or the Euro. Right. He can do all that. And people telling me he's washed? No, I don't believe that.
We just seen him put up
counting stats are down because he played less and he got benched a bunch of times.
And then
his efficiency is still up across the board.
And before he got benched, he put up a dog ass triple double, right? If I'm not mistaken, it was a really super
close
dog.
To it, right? I think so.
No, I think it was. It was a really high triple double, and they were like, "Oh, y'all really want to get rid of Jimmy and stuff like that." And it's why would you want to get? And then I'm also kind of ticked off with the ageism in the NBA, considering what era and generation that we're in. We're in the generation of medicine, recovery, diet, all of that. He old, not washed. Right. So he got that old man strength. You know what I mean? So he'll just
and that's fine,
and then hit you with the fader. Or Jimmy has Draymond ability in him. You know what I mean? He facilitated Miami, basically. The years that I've been watching Jimmy since he came to Miami, and then that's the reason they got to 2 finals. But his teammates didn't show up. You know what I mean?
He's like a wing version of like Andre Miller. You know what I'm saying? You can't like Andre Miller will dictate whatever pace he wants to play. And you think you're going to guard him, he's going to do whatever you know what I'm saying? Like that old man strength, except Andre Miller had old man strength his entire career.
Yes. You know he did.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like the Warriors' offensive sets have become extremely stale and predictable.
Yeah.
I like the idea that Jimmy can come in and I mean, dude, he's obviously you said like triple double ability, which we've seen. Yeah. Dude, if you remember like his stat lines in the NBA finals, he's putting up like 40-point triple doubles. You know, he's putting up like 15, 16 rebounds in games. Oh, I was watching, you know, to get myself hyped up the other day, you know. What I'm saying is, and obviously what I'm saying with triple double, that means you have to have you know, double digit assists.
Right.
He is an excellent passer. And now we can actually get back, you know, to being able to, if you're running like what Kerr likes to run, a lot of split action, dude, the play doesn't die, right? If the initial cut or the jump shot isn't there, he has the ability to make that secondary pass, you know, or we can get back to actually running some high-low action between him and Draymond. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
and then having Steph Curry on the floor, and he's not Tyler Hero. He doesn't need the ball in his hand to create and try to shake somebody. Steph Curry does that, but he does it efficiently. He's Steph Curry, and the only person that comes close is Lillard. But having him with his own gravity will do nothing but free up Jimmy Butler. You know what I mean? And then if Jimmy's making those, oh, wait, hold on. We toasting, we drinking up. All right.
I'm excited.
I've been wanting to. But yeah, if he's out there doing that, and then you have the players actually making the plays that they need to make in order to like fully execute the plays, then like what's the problem? You know what I mean? Like Jimmy Butler coming to the Warriors is a big deal because what you had in Wiggins is like 25% of a dog. You're getting 100% of a dog in Jimmy Butler. And if you got Draymond, you got Steph Curry right there telling you, hey, like go, you know, hey, run this, do this like this, and then this and that. Jimmy Butler is a professional. He's, you know, you can actually put stuff. The man carried the Heat to 2 finals.
I know.
He showed you it wasn't a fluke by doing it again. You know what I mean? So if you can have Jimmy Butler and he's carrying a team to the finals, and you add that to the Warriors with Steph Curry, with Draymond Green, with Kuminga still there. So that means Jimmy can run. Yes, I was worried about Kuminga getting traded. You know what I mean? But if you got Jimmy in there with him, like on the floor with him during practice, doing all of those things, whatever, but mostly just talking to him. You know what I mean? Like, hey, man, don't worry about this and that. Like, go hard like this and that. Just imagine what Kuminga is about to come out now. You got Steph Curry, you got Draymond, you got Steve Kerr on the X's and O's, and then you got Jimmy Butler in your ear. And then showing you some of his moves, and it's not that Kuminga can't shoot or nothing like that. Like he's coming along, and by next season, especially with this iteration of this Warriors roster, he'll probably arrive. If not by the last 10 games of this season, like fully arrive. Like Kuminga's been here, but I'm talking about like where you say a name and you can think about moments. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe that's next season because he hasn't had too many. He's been out with an injury, come back soon. But this team will, and I'm not saying that they can get somewhere this year either. Yeah. You know what I mean? But this is a good direction to go in. Like y'all are basically adding Jimmy to fit the timeline of Steph and Dre. And then you have your youth. So you have a triumvirate of the veterans, you know what I mean? And they're the prominent veterans. A lot of teams seek like, oh, a role player veteran, this and that. No, these are veterans that actually can carry your team. So, hey,
absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it.
Again, I know. Again, fans, you have every right to, you know, be skeptical or a little nervous about him being available to do all those things you said. But I don't know. I mean, like, frankly, he's coming to a team where, like, to a certain extent, load management is kind of no, I saw that. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. Like, my boy put up a real good question. All right.
No, like at this point, Curry's about to turn 37, right?
Yeah.
Like this year, the mandate is he's not playing back-to-backs. So what I'm saying is this is the perfect thing, right? You could stagger it. So now one plays one end of the back-to-back, the other, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This was the idea. We haven't had that second option where they can split those days, right? And that way, the roster isn't as undermanned or exposed, which goes into Nil's question. Yes. I mean, it's not a carbon copy, but he would be like an Andre Iguodala type role. He is. Yeah. Jimmy is, for all intents and purposes, he's a freaking point guard. I don't care if you call him a small forward. He's basically been Miami's point guard, like, for what?
The whole time.
Like, I was going to say 80% of his Miami Heat career, but yes, the whole time.
Just not this season, but the whole time.
I mean, go down the list, right? Terry Rozier, Gabe Vincent, they were never point guards for Jimmy Butler.
No.
They're like small combo guards or shooting guards, which, by the way, make no mistake, Max Strus, excellent player or great player, but Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, I'm probably missing somebody else, Duncan Robinson, you owe Jimmy Butler a big thank you. Okay, he got you paid. He got you paid. Yeah. No, for real. Especially Gabe Vincent. He got you paid.
I was just about to say that, especially Gabe.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
And then you're going to run to the damn Lakers, and you're going to act like Jimmy Butler wasn't a reason that you was getting set up the way that you was getting set up. Like, man, y'all better stop sleeping on Jimmy Butler. He been nice. You know what I mean? Like, imagine Jimmy Butler over there with Philly, and they got rid of Ben Simmons instead of him having to go through I don't know whose team this is. Like, I watched that Jimmy Butler summer. He had that summer YouTube thing going on because I fucking love Jimmy Butler, bro. Like, he's a dog. I like dogs and men. You know what I mean? Like, instead of, I'm going to try to come to the game and I'm going to, be like, we're going to win. Like, Jimmy Butler all the time is like, what he just got done saying that Pat Riley got pissed off about. Oh, yeah, if I was there, then the Celtics would have lost. I need you to be confident like that. I don't need you to be no bitch. I need you to be a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, show up. And you putting Jimmy Butler with the Warriors? Like, come on, fam.
And that's what I'm saying.
Excuse my language. Excuse my language. It wasn't directed at no woman. It was directed at Jimmy.
Jimmy Butler, sure. Because I think, like, of the fans that are really down on this acquisition, they're like, man, it's his shenanigans. He did it when he wanted out of the Bulls. He did it when he wanted out of Minnesota. He did it, to a lesser extent with Philadelphia. He did it now with Miami. I'm like, I don't disagree. But I'm like, dude, one, if you remove that, was his tenure at each spot, was it not awesome? Did he not give you everything he had?
Did he not take Minnesota to the playoffs?
Again, you're saying hey, you should be KG. More you should be more professional. I get that, but I'm like, dude, front offices could be more professional too.
What has he done that's so truly unprofessional? Other than if I'm not mistaken, he's been tending to a sick father, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That is what I saw too, right? What's what Chris Haynes said?
It's just like he can't go see his family. You know what I mean? And then come fly back in. Like, I mean, look, I'm a Kobe guy. Kobe was going through the court cases. He was literally coming from Denver, and he flew into a game and was hitting game winners. Now and he came in after halftime. And you mean to tell me that Jimmy Butler can't go see family, still come back? He might have missed a team flight, but he's going to be there for everything else. And like, huh? Like, come on, man.
Swag on.
The only problem I got with Jimmy is take that colorful stuff out your hair, go Jet, and let's go.
Well, no, if he wants to make it gold, he can make it gold. Frankly, dude, he's in the Bay Area now. You know how many people will freaking love him for that shit, dude? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he can do the emo thing again. Every single freaking barista. I was in the office today, right? They all have hair like emo Jimmy. You know what I'm
saying? Dude, that's what Neil just said. Emo Jimmy B.
But I mean, in all seriousness, going back, Neil's asking, can Jimmy and Draymond play together, or more so, can they play together in extended stretches? I think so.
Bigface Coffee.
To take a quote, we'll talk about the coffee in a second. Okay.
Okay. I don't know too much except that it's expensive.
Dude, no, I mean, to quote JB Bickerstaff, one of my favorite quotes of this season from the preseason, right? They asked him about spacing. His answer: spacing is relative to what you're trying to accomplish. So when you ask me, Draymond's actually, the irony is Draymond has shot the three ball extremely well the last 2 years.
He has.
silently has been like a high 30s guy, like a 38% dude for like the last 2 years.
Wait, what? That really? That high?
Yeah.
What's this season? Because I only see him making his threes lately, and then they still kind of play off of him when I'm watching.
Oh yeah,
and
no,
then it's just like
they don't guard
he
him.
gets so hyped afterwards, and it's just like, yeah, Drake, because I'm hype about it, because it reminds me of the NBA Finals where he was basically the leading scorer. He was making all his threes. They should have won. You know what I mean? But you know, they took the L. It is what it is. It's part of the story of the NBA.
He's at 36% right now this year.
That's great for Draymond.
He was 38 last year.
So. Whoa! So he's about to be higher now because Jimmy.
I'm just saying, like,
if Jimmy comes and operates in the block, and Draymond is orchestrating, and then they're looking for where his orchestration is going, he can come out. Steph can float, and suddenly Draymond becomes a poor man's Klay Thompson. But you got to guard
again. To quote JB Bickerstaff, right? Spacing is is relative to what you're trying to accomplish, right?
Right.
Think of all the things the Warriors have not been running because we didn't have the personnel. Like, okay, hey, wow, cool. We got two bigs, right? A power forward and center who are great screeners, but like they can't dribble the ball and they can't pass. Well, now, right? Jimmy is either a point guard or a power forward lately for Miami, right? He'll inevitably be playing some small ball 4. Draymond is a small ball 5, right? You can run more horns action, right? Above the key or below the key. Can you imagine Steph going around running wild, right? Because, oh my God, now you have like what, right? A secondary screener, right? All of a sudden, right? The horns becomes a drag screen. You see that?
Ooh.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Good Lord.
You know,
I can't wait to see
like
this
Draymond or Jimmy are going to find Steph or whoever, right?
Yeah.
Which is why also, assuming Kuminga and Moody don't get traded in the next however many hours we have left until
not even 24 hours. It's 3 o'clock. So
plus 16 hours, roughly 16 hours.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
If they don't get traded in the next 16 hours. I truly believe that Moody and Kuminga will probably be, outside of Steph, will be the biggest beneficiaries of Jimmy Butler being on the team.
So let me ask you this then.
Go ahead.
Did you have anything else to add to what you were where you were going?
Well, I mean, like Moody, you know,
before I interject, go ahead and finish.
Yeah, just real quick. No, like lately, Moody's minutes have been kind of going up, and with more minutes, he's starting to see. He's starting to look a lot more comfortable out there, a lot more confident. But the thing about Moody is, like, sometimes when I'm critical of him, it's not that I don't like him. It's just I think people have to assess him properly. And what I mean by that is he's basically offensively, he's a really good at just catch and shoot. Right? He doesn't have a strong handle. He doesn't have a lot of like go-to moves, right? So if he's not shooting a 3 and you close out on him, what he's going to try to do is like, because he's big, he's going to try to bully you. His go-to move is he likes to shove the ball into the defender's chest and then try to flip it over, right? When he's got you off balance. And if you're big and strong and it doesn't work, then he's turning it over. Right. So what is it? You need to minimize the amount of times that he has to dribble, right? Anytime he has to take more than 2 dribbles. So, right? With Jimmy, can you not see a path now where he could basically play the Duncan Robinson role, Moody that is, or the Max Strus role, right?
And Jimmy be Jimmy and facilitate to them and
like a
when they stagger. Yeah.
Exactly. And then same thing with like Kuminga, you know, except there, again, if you're running more flex action for Kuminga, that's going to open up the baseline for him. And you know, Kuminga, we run a lot of like empty corner sets, which gets him right, like a running start. And he's then like unstoppable. Think now more, right? Except now, like the angle which he comes from.
Will we see that corner set where Draymond usually sets up Wiggins from the corner, has Steph in the action, and Wiggins cuts and Draymond hits him? Is Jimmy capable of that athletically? I mean, I know he can finish, but he'll finish his own way. It won't necessarily be
that's what I'm saying.
Dunk, but
yes, we will see that play. How he finishes it, that's to be determined.
Yeah.
But going back to what Dylan said too, that has been a massive problem. Is again because we lacked guys, and no offense to Wiggins, but again, like I don't blame him, but because we got guys that don't have like good handle, they can't actually generate real contact at the rim, and therefore they're not getting free throws. Right? Jimmy's like a freaking free throw master. You want to call it grifting? I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I'm past the point of ego.
Flop. Shit. Fuck it.
Hey man,
flop.
If you're gonna put it in the rules,
yeah,
you're gonna put it like allowed in the rule book, then we might as well exploit it. So yeah.
So do you think that the Warriors need to make another move to kind of massage where the roster is now with Jimmy Butler? Do you feel like that you guys need to like put pieces around him in particular that can kind of create a secondary ecosystem? Because it's not like I'm a GM or I run a team or nothing like that, but when I'm just playing like NBA 2K or something with my boys, we build in my league. I try to build dynamics leading into the playoffs, not just I'm about to come up, pick and roll, blaze, or pick and roll to the rim. Like, you need to build different dynamics in order to have teams to show something to when you get to the playoffs. Like, oh, okay, this is what y'all scouting. Oh, okay, now we have this. Oh, okay, y'all stopping that? Okay, we going to this. Oh, you stopping that? Okay, so we going to mix them, and we're not going to reveal the third thing until it's like game 5. But we'll do it in sprinkles where it's just like, oh, here's the play here. Here's the play there. Do you feel like this team, as constructed right now today, at this very moment before the trade deadline is over, do you feel like you have enough to make at least a run for the 8th or 6th seed? Or do you feel like they have enough to just upset whoever in the play-in or just upset someone, period? You know what I mean? Like, just because they're not far out. They're not.
Actually, I'm glad you asked that. Before we got on, a friend of mine, he actually texted me. He just said, hey, Conrad, as the roster stands now, say like we don't make any other moves after the Jimmy Butler trade, what is our ceiling? So in my opinion, our ceiling, I think the Warriors ceiling is like a 6 seed. 6, like I'll say top 6, just 6.
5.
Top 6. Okay. I'm gonna go top 6. Okay. 6. And again, I'm being very conservative here. I'm saying top 6 seed and like a second round exit.
Yeah.
Which I think is fair. Because like I said, I mean, for me, that's why when everyone was like, when they thought the asking price or how much we'd have to ship out for Jimmy was going to be more than this.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, Conrad, how can we give up like all our death?
I did too.
Yeah, but I'm like, dude, all our death prior to this got us to a 500 record. I tweeted this out the other day. We're like literally 500 at home, just barely over 500 at home, 500 on the road.
Right.
We literally have a point differential of 0.3.
But
which what means we're a 500 team.
Do you know what it was before Kuminga went down?
Yes, I do.
Go for it.
Okay,
let the people know.
So
y'all was ahead.
We were actually even slower. So we're 17th in pace right now. Before him going down, we were actually 18th in pace, which kind of makes sense, right? Because he likes to do his little isolation thing. True shooting percentage, I think we were like, 21st? I think we were 20th before that. We're 24th now in like effective or true shooting percentage. I think now before that, we're 24th now. I think before that it was like 23rd. So very marginal, very, very marginal difference. You know what I'm saying? We're, one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the league, both at generating free throws and making free throws. So we don't even get a lot of free throws. And when we get to the line, we don't make them other than Steph. Can you believe that? Our team free throw shooting percentage is like 76%. You take out Steph, it's like 68. You fucking serious? You know what I'm saying, man?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, dude, or maybe it's 69. But I'm saying, no, I'm not even exaggerating.
So that's
all I'm trying to say, though.
That's a problem.
Yeah. For me, my mindset was no longer about. That's why when people are like, "Oh, how are you gonna finish out the rest of the season?" If we trade away like blah blah blah, like 5 guys for just Jimmy Butler. I'm like, dude, the goal now is no longer to win. How do we increase our chances of winning a championship this year? The goal now is how do we win at least one championship in the remainder of Steph's Warriors tenure?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and now, right, Steph, Draymond, Jimmy, and even Steve Kerr, all their contracts are aligned. So
really,
this season and the 2 seasons after, this is the window. Find a way to win one championship in the next 3 seasons, or the remainder of this season and the next 2 seasons. That's it. So that's why I'm saying, like, if at the very least use this trade deadline, I mean, they're going to compete, but try to bring in the top end talent now, which is what we did with Jimmy Butler, and then in the summer, use the summer to find a way to round out the roster with the role players. Right. I know people are like, mixed feelings about Mike Dunleavy Jr., especially because like he had a very sorted, like when he was a Warriors player, right? He was pretty controversial, or like fans had a love-hate relationship with him. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is, in my opinion, I know that like, Kyle Anderson just didn't work out. Yeah. But still, with very limited resources last summer, right? We had no cap space. We had only the taxpayer mid-level exception, right? And hardly any draft picks to work with. Right. He was able to find creative ways to bring in Kyle Anderson, DeAnthony Melton, who was great before he got hurt, and Buddy Hield. What I'm saying is, with limited resources, Mike Dunleavy Jr.
He was on my fantasy team, killing it.
Yeah, right. What I'm saying is, Mike Dunleavy Jr. has shown the ability to be able to find creative ways to bring in talent on the margins. Right. That has seemed to be right now a strength. So that's why bring in the top end talent. Now you can identify, as you're saying, the types of complementary pieces to put around him, and let Mike figure out how to do it, on a limited budget, which I think he can,
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you're ready to like kill this pie, but who's expendable and for what right now that you think that's attainable and that you think will actually add to this team before this trade deadline ends, and for whom? Like, do you really get rid of Buddy Hield? Because I wouldn't want to really, but because he can end up being in the playoffs making timely shots. Because what people don't understand is the playoffs are about matchups and about timely plays and execution. So if you can execute in the playoffs, you can play decent enough defense, you can win. That's why a lot of teams, nobody thought Dallas was going to lose in the finals. I didn't. But then we got there, and
would you
Jaylen
trade?
Brown is driving past Luka every damn time he got the ball. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I understand the AD trade. I do. I understand it. It's just like, we got Kyrie. We got these players that we brought in for defensive purposes. But the main person we need to play defense because of the position he's playing, he can't fucking do it because Jason Tatum's cooking his ass. Jaylen Brown is cooking. I'm just being real. Like, a lot of people don't be real with this. It's just, Luka. And like, shout out to Mavs fans. I love y'all because I like the Mavs too, especially since y'all got Kyrie. But I have watched someone like Luka like berate teammates and stuff like that. But outside of that, if you bring in certain people to do certain things and they do them, like whatever happened to the specialists in the NBA, you know what I mean? When you have an actual like core of players and you can just basically plug like a damn family tree into them, it's like, I do this, I do this. Oh, this is the core. I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. He helps me do this. He helps me. What happened to that? Because it's just like everyone wants every player to be 3-level, 2-way. They want them to be everything. They want them to be, you know what I mean? Like a superstar. You can't have
I think part of that is because like the nature of roster building, in part because of the CBA, right?
Oh, okay.
Every team has like their superstars, right? Yeah. And you're building your team around them, which, like you said, right? He's your superstar. You know their identifiable strengths, so you're going to put the complementary specialists around him. Right. The problem is, like, for example, Philadelphia has that model. Okay. But what happens when Embiid goes down? Now your specialists don't make fucking sense.
No.
That has been the problem with Philadelphia. See, so that is why I think teams are trying to find as much versatility, even though, like, the players they bring in, they're not particularly great at one thing. but they can do a little of everything somewhat decently, or a couple things decently.
And it's not
I
enough.
think that's kind of why the roster building philosophy has changed, is in large part because of that. But going back to your initial question,
about the roster,
who is expendable? Like, okay, I love GP2. I love Kevon Looney. The thing is that the two of them are both on expiring deals, right? This is where the business of basketball, this is where the business of basketball comes in. I've had conversations with my Cap buddies about this, and they agree with me.
Okay.
Like,
God, this happened.
See, okay, when they both go into free agency next year, right? Like, I hope I'm wrong, but in all likelihood, when they sign their next contract next year with whoever they sign it with, hopefully it's with the Warriors. I think their value on the open market is they're both minimum contracts now. So right now, their value, I think so. I think so. I mean, maybe a little bit more than minimum. Yeah. Okay. But it's not going to be like there's no way they're going to get the mid-level exception. And see, so that's why for the Warriors, their biggest value is actually the value of their expiring contract. See, if I can take, let's just for the sake of this discussion, let's round it up. If I can take GP2 and Looney's contracts, they actually both equal to a little under 20, but let's just say it's 20, right?
Right.
Basically, if I could take their contracts and trade them out for Nikola Vucevic.
All day.
See?
But who's your defending center if you trade for Nikola Vucevic? Is that where you suddenly, because I feel like Vuce is a 4. He's like a slow-footed.
No, he's definitely a 5 next to Jimmy and Draymond. Make no mistake.
Draymond defends better though.
I'm just talking about acquiring talent.
Yeah.
It's going back right now. I'm going back. Like, am I giving up on this season? Not necessarily, but I'm just saying, like, dude, you know what? Like, because if I let their contracts expire,
then you let them go free. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. That's what I'm saying. Right. Like, that's been the Warriors' problem. It's what happened with Chris Paul. We just let his contract expire.
With who?
It's what happened with Kelly Oubre.
You reloaded. You said with whose contract, Clay?
Oh, Chris Paul's.
Chris Paul. Oh yeah.
Chris Paul. And then Kelly Oubre a couple years before. Right. Like, we never traded them, and then we lost their salary spots.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Right. We're limiting our ability to bring in, more talent.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be Vucevic. That's why I said I threw out Bobby Portis. Would be great. I'm really high on Bobby Portis. Like, I don't really care what people say, man. I don't understand like his reputation. What's up?
For who?
Same thing. I don't know. Like Looney, or actually that would make sense. Looney is from Milwaukee,
I mean, is that realistic to you? Like Looney?
Well, because I don't know. Milwaukee, one of their biggest motivation is they need to get further under the second apron, in order to provide them with the flexibility to make the moves they need to also in the summer, Yeah. I mean, obviously after the Kuzma trade, it's kind of gotten a little bit better, but I'm not sure if they've completely ducked it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm spitballing. Robert Williams, but at this point, Robert Williams is kind of a clunkier fit next to Draymond and Jimmy. Now, if we really are thinking on court, but again, if I'm just looking for best talent, or F it, dude, like Kelly Olynyk.
Again?
We've never had Kelly Olynyk. Everybody thinks he's been a Warrior. He's never been a Warrior.
Kelly Olynyk?
Wow. He's never been a Warrior.
Yes, he has.
He has like Warrior DNA. Like, he plays like a Warrior.
He has been a Warrior.
No. He's never been a Warrior.
He's been a Sun.
He's
been a Warrior. He plays.
Did you see that the Pelicans traded Daniel Theis to the Thunder? Wait,
say it again. I said Kelly Olynyk played when you guys had Jordan Poole as a G League. He's been a Warrior.
No, he's never been a Warrior. He's never even played in the G League. He's never been a Warrior, dude. Trust me.
Hold
Kelly
I'm
Canadian
Kelly
Olynyk
y'all.
Never been a Warrior.
Are you sure?
Chris Boucher has.
Yes, he has.
Yes.
Kelly Olynyk. I'm thinking of Kelly Oubre.
No,
because I typed his name all the way in and everything. Kelly Olynyk, even at this point, what for the stretchability?
Yeah, he's a really good ball handling, playmaking stretch 5.
Yeah.
I think he would fit in nicely.
And not be too dominant of a I need the ball type of player as well too. And then he would benefit from Steph Curry's hell and Jimmy's hell and Drake. Steph, they're big 3. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like they are big names in the sense of this big 3, but he would benefit from them. You know what I mean? So I could see that. I could see that because Kelly Olynyk is nice for real. Like I won't say a Swiss Army knife. He's more like a Swiss Army knife missing some of the extra, like 1 or 2 of the tools. You know what I mean? but the teammates that he would have would make up for it. So I could see that.
Yeah,
I could definitely see that because we had him here in Detroit too, and he was nice. So
yeah,
I was thinking more of you guys go get Clint Capella, but I don't know about his health. I just was thinking for rebounding purposes, just strictly. You know what I mean? But I mean, you do have Looney, but it's like he'll put up 10 rebounds, 12 rebounds in one game, and then all of a sudden Looney just like disappears. You know what I mean? The Warriors need somebody constant. Like that's like Drummond. Would you get Drummond?
Actually, that's a good idea. He is financially attainable.
Yes.
I mean,
he is, and he'll give you at least 7-8 rebounds. He hasn't been rebounding that much. He's been hurt and whatnot, but for him to come off the bench and be a part of this team, and then you stagger the lineups, he comes in. He's potentially with Steph in some moments. He's with Jimmy Butler at some moments. You can feel free to kind of put up certain shots, especially if you have like a secondary-ish kind of rebounding type of person in there with him. Like I don't know about Draymond and Drummond, but I mean, you could, you know what I mean? And it makes you guys bigger as well because the Warriors are small to me. They are small.
Oh, they are.
And yeah, they're small as shit, and they need to like bulk up. So I probably, now that I mention it, I would probably go for Drummond and some more. I would go for one more other player, and I think you guys just need either. In order for this player for me to not want this other player, Kuminga will have to step up on the defensive end. But you just need another, like, at least somewhat two-way player. Where's Matisse Thybulle at? Not to add another non-shooter to y'all.
I know he's in Portland,
but he's in Portland. He's amazing, and maybe go get Markelle Fultz out the damn free agency.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see who ends up, on the buyout market. I do like KJ Martin that you guys just picked up. I'd gladly give you Buddy Hield for KJ Martin.
What?
Shake on it.
You like KJ that much?
Yeah. All right, there you go. If it happens, we're gonna reference back to this episode. That we negotiated that deal. You're Trajan, okay?
And we will be back tomorrow because the trade deadline is gonna pass.
I think before we close out, final thoughts. What happened with the KD thing? So
yeah, he didn't want to come.
So I'm gonna call a little BS on that.
I mean, it was just like the Jimmy thing because I feel like. They were saying Jimmy wouldn't sign the extension, but it was just like, oh yeah, I'm signing an extension 2 years. I'm declining this, and then signature.
No,
as soon as the trade happened, it was like Jimmy Butler extension
for Jimmy, because everyone's like, oh my God, we've traded for Jimmy. He just said he's not going to sign the extension. BS. BS. Yeah. You could I know a lot of Miami Heat fans are freaking pissed off at his agent, for the way they've been negotiating these things, dude. I get it. Again, I have no ego in this, right? If you're saying that Phoenix, if you're Jimmy and you're saying Phoenix was your top choice, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And the Warriors were your second choice. I'm not offended one bit, dude.
No.
Everybody has preferences. Some people like Coke over Pepsi. Some people like McDonald's over Burger King, et cetera, et cetera.
Some people like A&W over A&W root beer over Faygo
mug.
Or mug. Yeah, because Faygo is like a Detroit thing, a Michigan thing.
But
yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is I think this whole, it seems
It's like the off
it's
season.
it seems like going all these trades, like the whole Luka trade, like the everything coming out of Dallas, it's like a smear campaign.
Yeah.
Miami, smear campaign, right? Yeah. And now the Warriors unable to acquire Kevin Durant. It's another spear campaign directed towards Draymond.
Yeah.
Right?
But he went on his podcast and sat.
Dude, exactly. Exactly.
Like, this far
I'm saying
away,
this right now, dude.
Like,
I have literally, since he left, I have seen him and Draymond like in person. I've seen them hang out together. Okay. Yeah. Like, dude, in my opinion, I think when there's that much smoke, that means to me that framework of that trade was real.
Yeah.
And it probably fell apart because the three teams couldn't agree on like draft pick compensation.
Yeah.
So I feel like Phoenix and Durant to a certain extent are kind of doing damage control. They don't want to be like, oh, no, we weren't trying to trade you. And Durant doesn't want to be like to the fans, like, oh, I wasn't asking for out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's cool, man. But whatevs,
Neil is crazy. I feel like with the KD part of this,
Bargs. Yeah. I haven't drank root beer since
I can't remember. It's been years for me.
No, I mean, I'm sorry. I haven't drank soda in.
Me either.
Okay, let me rephrase it. Oh, have we ever said our age online? Basically, I haven't drank soda since high school. Put it that way.
Shit.
Yeah, my coach recommended that I cut it out, to be like a better athlete. And I was hardcore. I was competitive. So I was like, I'll cut it out of my diet, so.
But going back to KD, I feel like what might have been the thing, or well, on top of what you're saying, but another part of it might have been, do we really want to get him back with Steph Curry? Because just them running the pick and roll is a damn problem. Because all I have in the back of my head is KD and Steph running the pick and roll, LeBron going with Steph instead of going with KD during that championship, during that finals. And you have to choose. You have to choose. How do you, Neil, I love kombucha, but how do you choose who you're going to chase? You know what I mean? Like LeBron chose Steph and KD killed him. You know what I mean? So, but it's like, if you chose KD, does Steph kill you? Or does he devastate you with an open three? As soon as you roll off, boom. Like, he shoots it that damn fast. So it's just like, what do you do when you have KD and Steph? And I just feel like a part of Phoenix was like, well, they're next door. Do we really want to send them KD? Do we really want to do that and put them in, arguably, if they don't, especially if they don't send us Draymond, do we put them in championship position again? Because Steph and KD, that's championship material. I don't care what's around them, because they're prominent enough to elevate the floor of everybody that's playing with them. You know what I mean? Especially if they're dedicated to their craft, they're professional, they show up for work every day, they come to practice, they're actually trying to improve their game. And what the Warriors have, like, you got KD and Steph over here in the corner shooting threes, and then all of a sudden everybody gets in that 3-point line. So it's like everybody's working on their threes, they're working on stretching the floor, they're working on certain things and certain aspects of the game that they require or that really they don't require, because they can do it without those teammates, but that you should do in order to maximize on your potential. It's like Steph and KD, we seen what that is. Yeah, they had Clay, but I mean, in this time it would be Buddy Hield. You know what I mean? And it's actually, just like, it's crazy. That would be crazy. Steph and KD is crazy. It's not fair. That's why the game is the way it is today, because Steph and KD won those championships and it turned the game into a shooting game. It's like, oh, well, we can shoot your lights out. And then they had Clay. We can shoot your lights out. So now it's gotten further away. We could say the Warriors changed the entire NBA. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, KD when he came along. So everybody, like, the league now is looking at, oh, who could shoot? Oh, you can't shoot. Oh, you shouldn't be on this team. Oh, you can't do this. Oh, you should be there. Or you should just be out the league. You know what I mean? That's where the league is. Like, look at Wemby. He's already shooting. Now, what if Wemby was as tall as he is and he could do nothing but be at the rim? They'll say, oh, he's just like, he's a skinny Giannis with finesse.
Tall shooter.
Yeah, imagine he didn't have no handle, because when he first came in, he didn't have a handle. Like, the league has gotten into labeling everybody, and it's like, you shouldn't do that, because people progress as time flies by. Jason Kidd eventually became a 3-point shooter. Rondo eventually became a good shooter, at least for that bubble Lakers. You know what I mean? Like, he was good.
But I like Jason Kidd. That era had it right. Like, his game, and you could say it's a different era. They didn't shoot as many threes, but still, right? Like, I don't like it when your game is like solely dependent on 3-pointers. Like, if you're telling me you take away the 3-pointer from your game, like, what else can you do? Clay was not, in his prime, again, one of the best wing defenders in the league. And again, as you said, right? Great mid-range guy. Curry could be like a pull-up like maestro if he didn't shoot up or just shoot threes, et cetera, et cetera. But I do like I said, I mean, I'm with you. I think if they sent Durant to the Warriors, at the very least, it puts the Warriors' odds at winning a championship better, like higher than the Suns' odds. So I can understand that. But for everything you said, like I said, I'm cool. I'm excited, and I like that it's different. Like you said, right? Pick your poison between Steph and KD. I'm not trying to like compare KD and Jimmy Butler. All I'm saying is in terms of who's better, and I think everyone's going to say KD is better. That's fine. I'm just saying,
not necessarily.
Jimmy, again, right? When you say violence at the rim, you always associate that with a big man, right? With a center, Daryl Dawkins, right?
Ooh, you going back? Okay.
Moses Malone, whatever. Okay, fine. You want to go more recent?
No. Keep going. Go back. I know them. Keep going.
I know. You know what I'm saying, dude? Wings can do that too. Yeah. I'm not saying Jimmy's Dr. J. I'm not saying that he's Scotty or Mike, or MJ, but he can put pressure on the rim, even at this age, and we need that,
Right.
So.
Well,
real quick before we go,
you go. I'm looking at Neil's comments. I was about to go down the
Brandon
line.
Ingram was just traded while we were talking.
Oh shit!
Brandon Ingram is going to Toronto.
Oh,
he's going, which I think is crazy, man.
Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, a first round in the man. That's bullshit.
So the Pistons alumni got traded for Brandon Ingram. That's it. Maybe that's obviously we're going to recap all these trades later, but I mean, right now on paper, Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, BI, and Scotty Barnes. I'm not really, my initial reaction, I'm not digging that fit.
No,
I'm not digging that fit at all, dude.
Scotty Barnes needs to, not to get away from Golden State fans. Sorry, y'all. We still got
because we had just talked about Olynyk as a Warrior. So, I mean,
and it's just like, Scotty Barnes needs the ball in order to be who he is. So taking the ball away from him only takes away unless he's willing to sacrifice. And he's young and he still has more progression, to realize in his game. And Brandon Ingram being there taking the shots that he takes, like, y'all should have just stayed the course, man. Like, I don't know. So now they got Barrett, Quickly, Scotty Barnes, and Ingram.
Yeah,
like that's too much. It's only one ball. Ain't that what they say? It's only one ball.
Well, no, remember what we talked about, when we talked about BI as a potential trade target for both the Warriors and the Pistons, right? Yeah. Like BI has just not shown the ability to be particularly efficient or productive when he doesn't have the ball in his hands.
Yeah, he's not.
Right? He's not a particularly good off-ball player. So now
he's not. No, he's not.
Like you're putting him next to Scotty and RJ? Are you serious?
Yeah, that's actually kind of trash. That's going to relegate him to the perimeter if they're trying to maximize.
Yeah. So we'll see. But anyway, yeah.
But, okay, so
the Warriors actually lost tonight.
Oh yeah, I see by 3. But yeah, Steph Curry dropped 32, 1 board and 7 assists.
Yeah.
So
we are the Warriors
Butler.
Are now.
That's a win.
The Warriors are now 25-25, 32 games to go.
Ooh,
let's see what we can do.
That's deep, y'all. 25-25 on February 5th. 25.
Oh,
That's a good sign. Synchronicity.
okay.
I'm big on synchronicity. I
Dude,
am.
I'm Asian.
And
We believe in those number things.
yeah, I do too. So today is a day that marks a change. And okay, so before we go out, Neil,
Yeah.
what is this OKC thing that you putting up? Okay, you said you had something to say about Bigface Coffee for Jimmy Butler. What is that? What you what did you have to add about that? Kind
What's that?
about the Bigface Coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, dude, I'm just talking, like, this is San Francisco, right?
Mm,
Like the birthplace of Pete's Coffee, right?
mm.
Which basically has like a fucking huge one in Chase Center. You don't think they're gonna put Jimmy's Coffee in there? Like, he's like, right? Like Neil said, like, oh, compared him to Iguodala. Iguodala is a freaking businessman, just like Jimmy. You see what I'm saying? Like, I bet you to a certain extent, like his people thought about that. And then Draymond is opening up his own new restaurant in the city,
Yeah.
Ethiopian food. How cool is that, right?
Yes.
Now, right? You combine Jimmy's coffee with Ethiopian food. That goes well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
He said stretchability, pausable. We draw more names in the game. Bars, root beer, kombucha, gravity manipulation. Yes, that's what this team will be to me, is a lot of gravity manipulation, because I think Jimmy and Steph Curry will open up even more for Draymond. You know what I mean? Because Draymond is limited only because he's limited. And mine, notice my quotations. He's limited. He's been making threes. You put up the numbers. And with Jimmy in tow, I think it will be even more magnified. Like once he starts really getting his shot and like starts really doing more, people are gonna be like, oh hell, here comes Draymond. Like, yeah, here comes Draymond. He's been here the whole time. It's just when you have great players make great players greater. You know what I mean? And it's not that Draymond is a 30-point per game scorer, but Draymond is good at what he does. And I don't think people respect him for that. Like I seen something, it might have been a year or so ago, definitely no more than 2 years ago, but it was a chart that showed Draymond with Steph and their efficiency. They're tops. They're tops. Damn near since they've been together. Since Draymond got started into the starting lineup. So what is it that you guys want to trade Draymond for? What would you want to trade Draymond for that's better than Draymond for what Draymond serves? No one is going to fill his role. And
I mean,
so what?
It says you and Neil even said here, right, that defense isn't appreciated.
Yes.
I understand from like, I do agree to a certain extent that like the Warriors at times they play a certain way to accommodate for Draymond's deficiencies on offense. However, defensively,
there's not.
You can't be an elite defense without him.
Yeah, you can't.
You know what I'm saying?
And you guys were elite to begin the season.
Yeah. So I mean, like it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off. But I mean, I don't think he's a net negative. Like I said, offensive production doesn't necessarily equal, it's not tantamount to like just scoring, in bunches. Like you said, right? Passing, facilitating, screen setting. He does all those things. So yeah. And frankly, at the end of the day, that's Steph's guy. That's his wingman.
Yeah, so, exactly. Okay. Well, before we wrap, make sure y'all follow us. Y'all see the names at the bottom. Opinionated_MJ. At CP3_777. Make sure y'all follow at EMW_pod. Subscribe, like, share this, float this around. And if you're in Michigan, if you're in Detroit, I hear the ice right now. Like, I hear it, and I need to go put my fucking wipers up. But make sure y'all stay safe out there. Everybody out there in California, I hope the wildfires have died down. Even though
we're in the Bay Area, and in the background, it's like a torrential downpour right now.
Is it good?
Oh, it is coming down like crazy, man.
Y'all need that.
It's like I'm at a water park or something,
At a water park, like
So everybody, stay safe, stay warm.
Kids. But we appreciate y'all. We will be back. Hell, the next couple of days. Like what we gonna do the trade deadline I can't talk. The trade deadline episode tomorrow, and we are going to jump back into WNBA on Friday. Yeah. We're gonna jump into the Valkyries on Friday, and then if anything else goes on, who knows? Who knows? Y'all might catch me at work while he's where he's. I don't know where you'll be tomorrow, but I mean, if we gotta go live for a mega trade, if something happened, I mean, I got the phone with me. You know what I mean? Like we could do a live pod. I'm gonna just be looking down while I'm working. But yeah, tap in. So appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good night, man.
Take care.
Shout out to you, Neil.